Alright, here's my video for this week's stage makeup assignment. This week is accident victim injuries, since I'm doing less accident, more fight. But let's get into it. So first thing, you're going to spend a decent chunk of the first portion of this video watching me fight with the scar wax. This stuff was a lot more difficult to work with than I anticipated. I don't think I used it last time I tried this, and it kept wanting to stick to the tool I was using to scoop it from the container and kind of shape it how I wanted at points, so that was fun. I also spent a bit more time editing this one, even though I, had to film it this morning, the morning of our lab day for class, just to cut out things like me cleaning my brush or staring at my research images, and specifically the research images because I misplaced my schematic. So I also need to make a new one of those, unfortunately. But that's the main things for extra comments or context. Now to get into the scenario, I guess extra context for this scenario before I start explaining that. Because our lab for this week lands on the Varner Hall costume day for Halloween Spirit Week, I took my scenario from an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer because that's my Halloween costume. So while the scenario is technically from a different episode than my costume specifically appears in, I don't care. That's where I went with. So the episode I'm taking from is season 3, episode 12, Helpless. It's actually a Buffy birthday episode, which, extra tangent, fun fact, I happen to have the same birthday as the character Buffy. That's fun. I love when something like that happens with a new hyperfixation. Anyhow, scenario. I, as Buffy, obviously, I'm gonna explain it first person, in character, whatever. Not really in character because I don't think I can do the speech pattern or voice right. But I'm explaining it first person. Anyway, so I was feeling off for several days, getting weaker and weaker, to the point where I start to wonder if I'm losing my Slayer powers. Angel and Giles both said they thought it should be fine, but I'm getting more and more concerned. So, on walking back home one evening, on my own as usual, because usually I wouldn't have anything to worry about, I get attacked by a vamp, and being still concerningly weak, I end up having to run rather than fight as I normally would. The vampire gave chase, and I ended up whacking my face on the side of the pavement while I was trying to get under a fence. Fortunately, Giles showed up and was able to get me out of there in his car. At which point we head back to the school library, and he explains that the reason I'd been feeling off and getting weaker is this trial the Watchers Council decided to put me through, and that he had been drugging me, essentially, so that I would temporarily lose my Slayer abilities. Not fun, not cool. I was going to just head home and wait until the effects of this compound he used wore off. But when I got back, there was a message from the vamp, whose name is Kralik, and he took my mom. So I gathered up everything I could find. I didn't have time to go for reinforcements, and after that reveal, I didn't really feel like trusting Giles anyway. And I set out for where his hideout was. There, we fought, running out of time, He managed to steal my bag with most of my weapons and stuff, and while I was able to push him away from me and run off to keep looking for my mom, at one point he tripped me into the stairs, which were metal, so it resulted in a nasty gash on my forehead. I'm running out of time. Whacked my face on the wall again while fighting. This is written out better in more detail elsewhere.